right. So you've signed for Carlisle now. You're registered with Carlisle. You're 11. You're 12. When did you start to notice things getting a bit more serious?
I remember going down. I got invited down to warm up with Dave Timmins at Carlisle on the pitch, and I think I was about 11 and a half. And
Before a first team game?
before the first team game, and I got pulled in by Dave Wilkes before the warm up. He said, "Oh, listen, we want you to sign a 6-year contract." I was like, "What?" Just out of the blue, just thinking this is mad. But yeah, the only club I ever wanted to be at that time, because I never thought I'd go any further. I always wanted to play for Carlisle at Bunton Park because that's all that was. That was the only club around me. I thought it was impossible to get picked by any other clubs. Um, and I had this goal of playing for Carlisle at the time, and he'd put me in the room and 6-year contract, and I thought, yeah, 100%, no brainer. I'd love to be here and that. So I did that, but at that time it was all fun, all just smiley, happy. I think obviously when I made the big move to Man United, and I know it's not a big move, but it was for me at the time. I was
Yeah,
14.
absolutely.
I moved away from my parents. I moved away from my brothers and all my friends up home. And I think that was a real stage where I had to man up and realise I'm on my own now. Like whether I like it or not, people will be on the other end of the phone, but I'm on my own. I've got to do this by myself, and this is this is more than I'd ever wanted. And I was always a Man U fan growing up, but I never ever thought that they'd come knocking. And when they come calling, I was just gobsmacked, and I couldn't wait to get started.
Yeah, brilliant. So what went? I'm interested. What went on, Dean, from like age 12 to 14? You've become a Carlisle player. Things have got a little bit more serious. Um, what kind of things would someone have seen if they were looking at Dean Henderson, age 12, 13, 14, that made you stand out at Carlisle and made a number of clubs say, "Oh wow, we're interested in him."
It was weird. I always had a confidence about me from a very very young age, and I remember I used to train with the goalkeepers. I was probably 12, and I was training with the first team goalies at the time. I used to get the train up on my own from Whitehaven to Carlisle at 12 to train with the first team goalies, and um, I, I used to go on the pitch and just take it in my stride. And I still remember that set me in good stead for when I went out on a Saturday and I went and played with my own age group. I think it was a Sunday morning actually in them days, and um, I think the confidence was. I always had a confidence about me, and I always thought I could perform. Even from a young age, I always wanted to come off my line, get the ball, catch the ball, and always wanted to be involved in everything. But I think I used to chase the game a lot, but that made me learn really quick as well. Um, so yeah, really just my confidence, and that's what probably got me the move, I think. And
It's brilliant, Dean, that you've related back to that because there's loads of things that young keepers, well, any kind of keeper can think about. And I think what you've talked about is actually like having some control of what you're doing, and being confident, and you can control your own thoughts and how you feel, and that then plays itself out in how you play and how confident you look. So I think that's a fantastic thing to do or to reference back to, and definitely some great advice for young keepers. So I'm seeing again. I'm seeing a picture of you here playing for Carlisle's under-15s. How old would you have been then, Dean?
I think I was probably about 13.
Brilliant. What was that like? Because I'm imagining like full size pitch, size five ball. Some lads would have been fully grown, fully matured. What was that like?
Yeah, it was good. It was sort of getting thrown in the deep end, and I really enjoyed it being out of my depth. And I remember I could just it was every sort of cross because if you look at the picture, I was so small then.
Yeah,
I didn't grow for a while, and I was always underdeveloped. I was small. I was in a small shell and that, but I always had a big something big inside me where I wanted to do it, and I wasn't afraid to do it. And I just used to go out and, as I say, just do good bits, do bad bits, but most of all, I was always learning and getting better. So I just enjoyed every second of it, and I always enjoyed playing with the older lads because there was always a chance to make a better save.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think like just for us as coaches there, Dean, like something for us to think about is you weren't huge at that age. You weren't like visibly physically big. You were quite small and wiry, but what you could see is you were a really efficient mover. You moved really well. You were really positive in your decisions. You know, your confidence that came out. So actually, sometimes as a coach, you've got to look beyond how big someone looks. And I think what you've just said then about having something big inside you is fantastic. I think that definitely describes how you play the game really well. So okay, so you've moved to Man United now. You've touched on moving away from your parents. You've touched on being on your own a bit more. Tell us about some of the differences when you moved to Man United.
It was just you go from in the academy sense to like from a big fish, this next big thing at Carlisle United. To next minute you get dropped into a pool at Man United, and there's 3 goalies in your age group. You're not the main man anymore. You're playing with your own age group, and it's a reality check, and you're like, what's happened here? And it took me ages to settle in, I'm not going to lie, because obviously I was from up north. I wasn't used to the city life, anything like that. And even going down the Trafford Centre, my eyes would be open, like, well, where am I here?
Yeah.
And I had to go up quick, and I got chucked into a school with 12 other boys. And sometimes I'd be in classes when I wouldn't have any of the lads with me, and I'd just have to deal with it and get to know new people, which was great character building. There was so much ability at them ages with some of the players around, and it was a complete different level to what I was used to. The speed of things, just everything really.
Did you question yourself at all?
For the first couple of months, I was if you spoke to Alan Fettis, he'd tell you that I was saying, listen, I need to go home and I need to do this part time. Probably for the first month, I think, but I'd never been away from my mum and dad for that long, so it was like I'd gone away, and it wasn't like I was going for a week and I'd go home. It was I was going for 2-3 months at a time, and then I'd get a weekend at home or something like that. So it's the best thing I ever done, and it's the best thing I ever went through, because it made me from a boy into a man at that sort of age. So not only on the pitch, but off the pitch, you learn so much about yourself. And the volume of training was fantastic at them times. And I think we were training like 5 days a week at 14. And to be fair, I couldn't really get my head around it at the time, but I loved every minute of it after the first month. And then obviously getting to see the first team goalies there and interacting with them and everyone being in the same building, it was fantastic.
And what changed from a training point of view? How did you start to develop as a goalkeeper, and what different stuff happened to you from training, from coaching?
Just the volume of training, the intensity of training. Took me a bit to get up to speed, but then once I got up to speed, I was just obsessed, and I wanted more and more. And I think that what surprised me a lot of Man United at them times was the competition levels.
Okay.
We go in and we were always competing for things, whether it was in training, goalie wars, in the gym, who can jump on the highest box, everything like that. And I think that's what really, really impressed me about the place.
Yeah, and that would suit your character perfect, wouldn't it? Your competitive nature to say like, right, who's going to win this? Who's going to win this exercise? Who's going to win this drill? Who can be the best? So you've got a choice there of how you step up to the plate, I imagine.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think at the time it was breeding a lot of winners at the football club, and it's how you can see the likes of Scott McTominay, Marcus Rashford, them sort of players have all gone up into the first team, and they were all in our little pool in our skill group, and that we all trained together all the time. There was 12 of us, as I say, and the competition every single day. We used to train twice a day, and the competition was phenomenal, really. And it was, as I say, it was an eye opener to me, and it only can make you better. And the amount of interactions I got outfield as well as in goal was great for my development.
Yeah, bro. And just the last picture I've put in this section is like, and I know you've always retained a close link with where you first started getting your first coaching experiences in goal and stuff, and the picture there is of you and Ben Benson. So even when you're 16, 17, you're still going back visiting Carlisle as a club, and the coaches that you had. Tell us a bit around what that meant to you, or what that still means to you.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guy, and I think I was very lucky at the time that I had someone like him around. He wasn't too much older than me, in the sense where he came to Carlisle United as a volunteer goalie coach, wanted to take it over full time and come and do Tuesday and Thursday sessions. And then on top of that, I think I did 2 one-on-one sessions with him a week, just to get the volume up. And that was from basically as soon as I could, and as soon as I got introduced to him, and we just worked together so hard. And luckily, hopefully, it's going to pay off in the future. But he gave me all my base tools, would you say?
Yeah.
Goalkeeping coaching terms, to go on to the next level and to hopefully have a career in the game. And he taught me everything I knew from a very young age, technically. And he made me, I'll be honest, technically up until I was probably 14, I was technically sound. But then obviously when you grow, you rely on different things. And he really gave me a great platform to build off, and I can't thank him enough. And I still keep in contact with him all the time.
Yeah, you do. No, brilliant. A brilliant grounding, and great to keep in touch and think around what helped you get where you are. I think for anyone to think about that.